I wasn't sure you'd come. First, I want to know how you fared these last years. Rather well from the looks of you. I'm glad to see you. You're the only person I can trust. Please promise me you'll help. You always were there when I needed you. Now, with my life a horrible mess. When Charles discovered my affair with Sasha, he was quite calm. But I know him, you see. His revenge is taking the necklace, leaving me with nothing. And I'd never trust him again. Don't you see? They're looking for guns, for bombs. At a party last June, Sasha was quite passionate. A Slavic trait, I'm told. His mother came from Belgium. I fell in love. We used to meet at his gallery, but we were never alone. They'd come at all hours. Sasha's friends. His gallery was their London base. They were rough men, foreign. Sasha told me they were part of a Balkan aid society. Stupid girl that I was, I believed him. But then I found out. These people, they... Charles!
Please, Georgia, continue. Was it my title or my income you found so desirable? I was never sure. Now that both assets are depleted, why don't you go to Sasha? Maybe he can help, as he's done before.
Ignore him. I see the smoking room's had its usual effect.
Idle gossip, apparently.
You see his attitude? Please, go.
Since she obviously can't depend on me. Here, take the chill out of the air. Thank you for seeing after my wife. Now I think it best you leave the happy couple, drowning in their happiness. Good night.
Remember, I need your help.
Developed some new photos. Wait till you see this.
Eric, who's at the door?
There they are, the steel tycoon Conklin with Lord Lambeth discussing business.
Eric!
I've got to go. Goodbye.
Have you seen Georgia? Don't care for me much, do you? There's much you don't know. Let's discuss it over a drink. Shall we, then? God, much better. Bartender, a whiskey and soda. Yes, much better indeed. Now, you may have heard I am in financial strait. I've borrowed money from Andrew Conkling, money that he is now demanding I pay back. I've none to give. Poverty should remain the domain of the virtuous. I've no taste for it. Georgia, afraid of me? Well, that would be a reaction at least. We no longer evoke emotion in each other. We're a husband and wife in name only. I tell you. No, I shall fix things first. And without Georgia. Another drink? Another whiskey for, Hope you don't mind if I do. Now, you, want to know some secrets. Thank you, bartender. I'll tell you one. George's diamond necklace. It's a fake. The one on her neck, leastways. I gave the real necklace to Sasha. It's in his cabin for safekeeping. When he gets to New York, he'll sell it, quickly and quietly, for 20% commission. I'll pay off my debts to Conkling, put Georgia away, sail back to England free and clear. She's unstable, as you know, so I'm placing her in a sanatorium. An easy thing to do, given her emotional history. The law favors the husband in these matters. She can do nothing about it. God forbid the suffragettes really do win women the vote. They'll never know their place again. Because I threatened to tell Scotland Yard about his Serbian Aid Society, and because Sasha's a greedy bastard, he'd betray his love for 20%. And Georgia thinks she's outsmarted. No, she's got a fake about her neck and doesn't know. Another? I could use another. Good night, then. You'll sleep well. The whiskey and the sea are both smooth for a change.
I don't know you, nor do I want to. Leave me or I shall summon a steward. Tell me, do you approve of women who smoke? You're witty. Most men take their indulgences one at a time, combine them like women with tobacco, and they pitch fits. Pity. Andrew and I wintered in Cairo. We returned via Paris, where we ran into all sorts of people, including that charming German Colonel Zeitel. He had a great interest in rare books. It will be wonderful to be home. No dust storms, no lepers. Mr. Trask predicts a banner year for me. Trask? A brilliant seer. Brilliant! I consult him about business decisions, and he's never steered me wrong. He instructs me to travel on only 2 ships, the Titanic and the Lusitania. I must stop our chat here. I've other concerns. My maid, she's left us. Yes, well, good night.
It's Daisy Cashmore. Surely you remember. You are naughty thing. Don't think I didn't know you'd snuck on at Cherbourg. Smethels told me all about it. The old boy's always dripping with news. Heard about Lord and Lady Lambeth. Ruined utterly. Scarcely enough left for appearances, I'm told. I always liked Georgia. Married Charles for his name and his fortune, sensible girl. But she's made her nest. Now she must live in it. Well, what do we think? Gorgeous, isn't it? Everyone's raving, gushing. The Titanic couldn't be more fabulous. And the sailing couldn't have been more convenient. Everyone's here. The Astors, the George Wideners, the Countess of Roths, such a wonderful girl. The Strausses, I saw them on D-deck tonight. The Ryersons, the Henry Harpers. I could just go on and on. And the ship's so very advanced. I was just saying to my dear friends, the Carters, they're bringing back a motor car, do you believe, in the cargo hold. Bill Carter checks it daily. Really, every day. He keeps the keys with the purser. And of course they let them. The Carters are fantastically rich. Lucille doesn't understand the attraction at all. With men and machines, I tell her, we girls play second fiddle. Well, my dear, I've a little favor. A tiny one. Tonight at dinner, a man I don't know was making eyes at me. Be an absolute darling and find out who he is. Look him up in the passenger list. All I know are his initials, GQC. The list's someplace. Find it. I'll wait right here. Ta!
Yes, can I help you? I can check valuables, store cargo, list passengers, etc. Have you a name? If you do, I can tell you their cabin number. Let me check. Aha. Mr. George Quincy Clifford, A27. I live to serve. Glad to be of good night.
Get his name? Clifford. Clifford. Never heard of him. You don't suppose he's rich, do you? You're an angel, and I've news for you, too. While you were gone, Andrew Conkling's been asking for you. Yes, Conkling, the steel bear. God knows what he's been doing in Europe, buying it probably. Where was I? Oh, yes. Andrew Conkling asked me to pass along this. You know his wife Beatrix, the designer. Such an eye! Her clothes preserve the bust line. Couldn't be more flattering. Keeps the eye moving. They're friends with Captain Smith. Smith! So handsome, so dashing. White Star's best officer, or was. He's retiring after this voyage. Couldn't be more tragic. My dear, you've blanched. Bad news? Certainly, certainly, I must... It's Mrs. Burbank! Consuelo!
Hello, I'm Conkling. Good of you to come. I trust you're finding the accommodation satisfactory? You're welcome. White Star's anxious for everyone to be as comfortable as possible, particularly on the maiden voyage. Sorry to seem mysterious. You must understand someone in my position, an investor in this ship, needs discretion. You're under no obligation, of course. I have a slight problem. You may be able to help. A servant has stolen an important business document from me, and I must recover it. A few years ago, my wife Beatrix hired a young Irish girl as maid in our London house. We treated her well. 2 weeks ago, she up and left without notice, taking a certain letter with her. I'd given up all hope of recovering it, until my wife spotted her this morning on the third-class promenade. Needless to say, I checked with the purser. She'd been scheduled to sail on the Philadelphia, but those passengers were transferred on board the Titanic because of a coal strike. Government officials, friends of mine, told me a bureau agent was on board. I found you through Mrs. Cashmore, a preposterous woman, but she does have an eye for accomplishment. Look, will you help me? You will be rewarded handsomely. Her name is Shayla Hacker. She's 20 or thereabouts. I was her benefactor, one might say. Yes. This puts me in a difficult situation. This young woman, she could cause considerable damage to me, to my reputation if she goes to the newspapers. I've gotten word to her to meet on the poop deck. Go in my place. Tell her there'll be no trouble if she returns the letter. Afterwards, report to me in our suite, B59. Her name is Shayla Hacker. Good night.
What did I tell you, Shay? I knew he'd not come in person.
Hush, Jack, hush. Conklin, he did send you, didn't he?
I told you, it's a trick. I knew Conklin wouldn't come. He sent one of his cronies instead. I'm her brother. And Conklin, because of him, Shayla's had to leave everything and everyone she knows.
Jack, don't.
That son of a bitch. She was his maid and all the time violating it.
Hush, Jack. I'll have no more of it. Go on, Jack, say it.
You tell Conklin we have his letter, and he'll not be seeing it till he coughs up a tidy sum, too. $5,000, do you hear? Dollars. Enough to get her started right. And if he moves a hand against us, I'll make sure the newspapers get the letter and print it. So tell Conklin. 5,000. Measured against what he has, it's a bloody bargain.
Meet us here again. At 1 tonight.
$5,000, then he'll get his damn letter. Agreed?
We'll be waiting for you.
Yes, can I help you? As purser, I arrange dinner reservations, rent deck chairs, the usual shipboard duties. Have you a name? If you do, I can tell you their cabin number. Mr. Conkling is in cabin B59.
Come in. I'd hoped to meet you earlier. However, my wife and I were calling on the Astors. Madeline's pregnant. Beatrix was thrilled. We have no children. I see. It's a ransom. May I present Mrs. Conkling?
You should pitch the ungrateful girl overboard. You should pitch the ungrateful girl overboard. Your clothes, French cut, quite fetching. I forgot to tell you when we first met.
Beatrix is on her way to California. She's got a new project in... Where is it, dear?
A cow town, someplace called Los Angeles. I'm doing up a little resort there. It's called the Beverly Hills Hotel. So, where is the Irish tart? Dreaming of her newfound riches?
We were just talking about that, darling.
My husband and myself extended every courtesy, showed every kindness to Shayla. We've no children. Shayla became quite dear to us. So her theft hurt us all the more for the trust we placed in her. Don't fail us. Now, excuse me. I must retire. I have a frightful headache. It was a pleasure. Good night. Andrew?
My wife felt strongly about Shayla. As I've told you, we've no children of our own. Look, you must get that letter. Don't wait until tomorrow. See if you can speak to Shayla directly, without her brother. She's in the third-class cabins forward, on F deck, number 59. Good night. I'll speak to you tomorrow.
There you are. I have evidence of a scandal. I have seen a first-class passenger, a Mr. Hadelitz, among the steerage class. He's been gambling with the crew and worse. I followed him into third class, on F deck, where he visited the room of an unchaperoned young woman. I will speak to the authorities. Such behavior, it smacks of socialism and unrest. I'm looking forward to talking with you about the mission. God needs your help. Thank you so much. I will call on you tomorrow. Good evening.
Jack, is that you? I'll be right out. I don't want to wake the baby. Oh, but we were meeting later. Where's Jack? Please, I don't want no trouble. I didn't know the letter was so dear. I just wanted to take something, anything that looked valuable, for the baby. It was Jack who read it. Saw it was bad for Mr. Conkling. He said the bit about selling bad steel would ruin him if it was to get out in the papers. My baby, Eddie. He's the only reason I stood them last month at the Conklings. I knew Mr. Conkling weren't going to leave his missus. I was only a parlour maid, but I didn't care. I was happy to have his baby. Him and Mrs. Conkling, I thought they was so kind, until I found out. Then Mrs. Conkling was going to steal my baby for her own. Once I had it, she would fire me and take Eddie for her. She can't have her own babies. So they used me to get one, to get Eddie. When I found out that was her plan, I left. I didn't know the letter was anything. I thought it might hold £1 or 2. Oh, that's Eddie. Bye. Don't forget about our meeting.
What did our young Mr. Hadelitz want? I'll see if I can dig something up on him. Hadelitz's ring. Maybe Trask can tell you more about it. Their partnership appears to be dissolving. Who else knows young Hadelitz? Talk to anyone who may have seen him. Finally, you're on the right trail. Follow those leads.
Yes? You want something? It's Willie's ring. Willie, what's happened? Something bad, hasn't it? Something to Will. He told me if I ever received this ring, I was to know that whoever gave it to me was a friend, and to tell them about the notebook, that they should find it. Willie's hidden a notebook on board, that's all I know. Now what about Willie? Is he hurt? Willie's hidden a notebook on board, that's all I know. Now what about Willie? Is he hurt? Oh, he told me jokes. Bad ones, but he made me laugh. Not like Mama's friends. Mama, she doesn't like Germans, unless they've a title to their name. But I like Willie a lot. May I have it? The ring? Thank you. I'll never forget this. Willie's in trouble. Please help him if you can.
Quickly, there's not much. Willie Hadelitz is dead, electrocuted in the Turkish bath. I heard one of the officers talking about this may not have been an accident. Apparently, someone wants that painting badly enough to kill for it. Do you have it? Smashing. Splendid job. Look here, on the back. It's a plan for Allied troop deployment in France. If Germany ever invaded, they'd have destroyed us. No wonder Hadelitz was killed. Well, Berlin won't get this now. Leave the painting with the person. He'll keep it with the Rubaiyat. If Hadelitz was murdered, you'll need protection. Here, this pen releases a single burst of knockout gas when opened. Find that notebook. It could be vitally important. And give that painting to the purser. Go investigate the situation at the Turkish bath. Move.
What have you heard? Anything? Tell me. A passenger, a young German, gone and dropped dead on us in the electric baths. Dr. Olothan's there now. This was just a simple accident. Ismay is going to raise hell when he hears, and I thought this would be an easy trip. Be my guest. Mind you, it's not pretty. Now, if you'll excuse me.
Most regrettable. Most regrettable indeed. The young German gentleman, dead. In the electric bath, quite unanticipated. He was alive, most vocally too, just a few hours before, arguing with someone on B deck. The gentleman's voice was unfamiliar. Very good. This is most irregular. Most irregular indeed.
Fancy meeting you.
Snooping about the decks again? What fun.
Oh, Henry, snooping. Really? Such dreadful taste.
Reminds me of that chap Burns, that photographer who took pictures of the ship.
You should look him up. He's on C deck. He has such a lovely wife, too.
I say it's late. Must. Goodbye.
Yes, can I help you? A painting, is it? I'll put this in the safe. That's all then, is it? Good night.
Christ almighty wonder. You has a face ache, ain't you? Rooming the ship, poking your nose into everyone's business. Just who do you take me for now? One of those la-di-da millionaires up top? Jack Hacker keeps his word, honors his promises. When I saw you coming, I says to myself, they'll be wanting to know about him. The foreign gentleman, German I suspect. A rapidly nervous type he was too. Gave me a bob and told me to tell whoever asked to repeat a phrase word for word. You want to hear it now? But still the vine her ancient ruby yields, and still a garden by the water blows. Yeah, that's it. Here, he wrote it down. What's it mean anyway? Some rich man's game you play? You can have it. Just tell Conklin we want the money tonight.
With Riviera on board? Get real, Pally. Watch him, or he'll pick your wallet too. Don't mind if I do. Smoke 'em if you got 'em, I always say. Gave a pack of these to the German kid early tonight. He's an odd one. While we was docked in Queenstown, I saw him on top of one of the smokestacks. The last one, right at the top. Who knows what he was up to? Looked like he was hiding some crazy crowd kid.
Care for a blackjack? The cards. They played well. I win. Another hand, mon ami? Bonne chance, mon ami. Good night.
I've discovered the only way into the smokestack. Through the engine room. Find that notebook. Helping the Tsar will help us too.
Oh, she's still running rough. You're so clever last time, you can't have a go again. Right, there's a gauge showing the turbine's power up. The needle's got to move into the green zone. Cheers, mate.
You have interfered in my affairs for the last time. You are the one who stole the room and Sasha's painting. I know you have it. Prepare to die at the hands of Serbia.
I think that notebook is for me. Please. I know exactly who you are. The agents have our secrets, yes? Thank you for finding it. Willie would have appreciated your effort. Cold, isn't it? I've maintained climate is the crucible of civilization. Culture blooms in the temperate. It is the tropic and Arctic zones which breed barbarism. Russia, for instance. In that notebook are names of anti-Tsarist Russians, revolutionaries living in exile. Germany supports these men. They are called communists. They provide assistance, small courtesies, and, wherever possible, financial encouragement. One of these men is moving to Krakow soon. Charming city, We urge Willie to befriend such types in Vienna. He kept a list of such men for us, or so I thought. He was a Russian agent who was going to turn those names over to the Okhrana, the Russian Secret Service.
Dave would kill them. Secretly, of course, but kill them just the same. Think.
With the revolutionaries all dead, the Tsar would be secure on his throne.
That should not be allowed. Not when there are wars to be planned for.
Now then, the notebook. An iceberg. They've run into an iceberg. The idiots! I will be taking that notebook now. Thank you. These names won't be disembarking in New York. Neither, I am afraid, are you.
It was a poor shot, that. You'll live. But for how long is the question? We've struck an iceberg. The incompetents, the idiots. That was an hour ago. The captain's called women and children to the boat. It's serious. She's sinking by the bow. She's got about an hour left, maybe a little. The Rubaiyat. And a fine time I had getting it back from the purser. It's safer with you. I've the painting. Take it, and make sure that necklace doesn't end up in the wrong hands. Zeitel must have hidden the notebook. Perhaps it's in his room. Cabin C, 59. The notebook lists the names of Russian radicals. The Germans actively encourage Lenin and other revolutionaries. You must recover that notebook. This information is vitally important to our Russian ally. I know you're hurt, but the Titanic's sinking. It's not going to be easy. The lifts have been shut down for good. We must get the evidence off the ship before it goes. So, up we go. Now get cracking.
Wanted this? Not quick, are you? Willie's names stay on board, and not with the Russian. A pity about the Titanic. She's going to sink, you know. I have it from Andrews. The poor fellow is in a state of shock. He is giving her about another hour at best. Make yourself comfortable. The bomb on the sofa will take care of everything else. What remains will go down with the ship. With, it appears, most of our fellow passengers. I will leave the notebook with you. A little bedside reading. Now, please excuse me. You think so? Excuse me, will you? I have an appointment to keep. Goodbye.
I'm not leaving Willie. I want to stay near him on the ship. We met here in the lounge the first night out. He introduced himself. Willie was so kind. Not like Mama's friends, they just want our money. I'm staying with him. We went for a walk that night on deck. There were so many stars. Just like tonight. I told him you can't see the stars in New York. The lights burn too bright. I told him to go to Central Park. I was going to take him to the park to show him the stars. Here, take this shawl. I don't need it. If you get to New York, visit the park. That's where you see stars. That's where I wanted to take Willie. Goodbye.
I wondered when you'd rematerialize. We're in a bit of a spot, don't you think? Me? My lord, no, I'm too old and too fat for small boats. Besides, after spending my corporeal career communing with the beyond, I'm not too worried about joining it now. Visit Mr. Riviera. He's playing for some very high stakes. Very high. I suggest a hand of cards with Mr. Riviera. Hurry. You've changed the past. Now, change the future. Hurry.
Nobody above this deck. Orders to be maintained. Last thing we need's a riot. If you go down there, I can't guarantee you'll come back. It's dangerous down there. That's the tick. Now get up on the boat deck.
Stand back! Ladies and gentlemen, maintain order. Women and children board first.
Prepare to swing out! Lifeboat away, sir!
Sasha. Yes, Sasha cared only for himself, not Serbia, not the Black. This is war. Deserters are shot like dogs. Maybe you want this, the English lord's necklace. It is mine to sell. The money for the Black Hand. Then you will see somewhere, sometime within a month, in a year, we will start a fire. A fire that will destroy the Austrian oppressors, destroy Europe, and all Serbs will know freedom. I must leave. I must get on a lifeboat. Once again, I must ask for your help. Find a way to let me board a lifeboat unnoticed. Women and children first is the rule. What? How? With disguise? No, I die like a man. You can get me into the first class? To the boats? What can I give you? Never. It is for Serbia. Quickly, what do you take? Take it and give me. Give it to me. If I disguise myself, I can reach the boat. The sea, it's coming in.
Get up on the boat deck. Last thing we need's a riot. Now get up on the boat deck.
I say, old bean, absolute madhouse, don't you think?
People running hither and thither, no organization, no plan of attack.
Henry doesn't think the situation calls for panic.
Lunatics, all of them, running about like rabbits with a stoat at the hole.
The lapse in social order is absolutely shocking.
Boats! Ha! If I were captain...
Such people, they're not dressed for first cabin, like those two immigrants on the second-class stairwell. Really, something should be done. The woman's quite upset.
Sodding
I can't possibly get in these boats.
I agree. Packing the women off in such crowded quarters.
Frightfully cramped.
Like tinned...
The Titanic is perfectly safe, isn't it?
I say, I'm in need of a gin.
Not now, Henry, not now. The officer there, he wants me in the boat.
They say the smoking room's still...
Goodness, I do believe I hear running water.
Perhaps we can play a few hands with that Frenchman.
Henry, I do think we should stay here with the boats.
Blast it all, Ribena. Pitch yourself in. I say, old bean, coming with?
Yes, do get in. We so enjoy the company.
Hoist a leg, old bean. In you go.
Tell them we did our best. Tell them...
Left the sinking ship without the ruby yacht, nor did he have the real Lambeth diamonds. The Black Hand never got its funds, money intended to finance a wave of terrorism across the Balkans. One of the intended targets, the heir to the Austrian throne, Archduke Franz Ferdinand. His murder might have started a war. We were lucky. We got peace instead. As for the painting, it left with me. The plans proved useless. In the month following the sinking, the War Office scrapped the proposed deployments in a cost-cutting measure. But the canvas? As the only artifact saved from the Titanic, the painting became famous. Along with its creator, a rather excitable Austrian named Adolf Hitler, who makes a lucrative career to this day, peddling overpriced alpine vistas to the carriage trade. I left the ship with Willie's notebook. Eventually, it found its way to the Russians. The Tsar's secret police were grateful, and the names Stalin, Lenin, and Trotsky vanished from history. The communist revolution aborted. I didn't really realize it then, but that night 30 years ago was one of history's most crucial. Though the Titanic carried 1,500 to the death, a peaceful world would be their epitaph. Our mission was a success. With no wars or bloody revolutions to derail us, prosperity and progress has flowed into every corner of the globe. bringing humanity a security known only to the privileged few before the Titanic sailed. Today, on April 14th, 1942, I am leaving the service to retire in a world at peace. One can only imagine how different it could have been, would have been, if we had failed.